5, 16, 19, 21, 33, and 10. Check results. You remember?
But I'm not a wizard. I'm Harry. Just Harry. Harry Potter Legacy is out now on all platforms. I wish I was being paid to say that. God, I know they're paying good money. They've got the budget, Warner Brothers. Harry Potter Legacy. It's kind of the words on everyone's lips. This is. Oh wait, are we on? No, this is 49. We're getting so close to the beautiful 50, which not only marks. It's not only a landmark in itself of 50 of these in a row, because we do these every day, as you probably don't know, but it's kind of in the name. So I'd be a little bit disappointed if you didn't put that together. But it's also marks halfway towards 100. It took me a while that the masses, it doesn't come to me like that anymore. I'm a little bit rusty. Anyway, Hogwarts. I've not played the game. I've not really. Maybe I'll play it eventually. I mean, I'm not really a big. I like games, but I typically play like sports games. Is what I enjoy. And when I say sports games, I play FIFA. And when I play FIFA, I mean that's not me acknowledging it's a good game. I know it's an awful game. It's lack of choice. I like football. It's the best football game there is, unfortunately. But they know that and they refuse to improve. They know they have the monopoly. And like if I ever was to play another game, it'd be like F1. Another sport game. I've tried playing. I've got that NBA and stuff. So like. That's typically what I'll play. Like games like COD and anything that's more multiplayer orientated. I can't play that on my own. I have to play it with people, else it's hell. It's hellish. Who wants to sit in their room and just like, what an existence that is? I feel like I don't know. You can rage at FIFA as well, but I'll just be playing career mode or something. Like, if I get wronged by the game, I'm at a stage now where I'm like, okay, this is how the game works. It's scripted. It's absolute bullshit. I'm just gonna cheat and score a goal back, because sometimes and I don't do that all the time. Like I'm like, fair enough, you beat me 7-0. If they beat me 7-0, they beat me 7-0. But there's certain times you just feel the swing of the game. You're like, oh, it's doing that cheating thing now, and that goal's just bounced off 7 players, then one off the back of my goalie. Sorry, but I'm not gonna allow myself to be annoyed by AI. So I'm cheating and I'm getting at least one goal back. And that's how I live my life on FIFA. So, whereas COD, I'm not going to sit in my room just screaming I've been shot in the back again, as I struggle to try and get a positive KD. It's a social thing. It's what you do with friends while you're in a party. Anyway, Hogwarts Legacy. What I was going to say is I don't really play games much. If there's usually a story game or anything like that, or a big game come out, The Last of Us, I wasn't really have a console, I think, when that game came out. But games like The Last of Us, The Walking Dead, just shit like that. I'll watch someone play it on the interweb, YouTube. But I think Star Wars: The Last Jedi it's not Last. What's it called? Fallen Order. That came out 2-3 years ago, maybe. I only just picked up and gave it a go recently. I actually thought it was pretty decent. I don't really play story games that much. I didn't go around and open every single chest and get every single skin, but I completed the story. That's big for me. So yeah, and Hogwarts Legacy, I might play it. I don't know. But I was watching someone play it just to get an idea of what the game was about. If I'd ever give it a go. I always tell them at the moment I'm dirt broke. I always say dirt broke as if I think that's a phrase. But I went on to YouTube, Twitch, as you do. I wanted to watch a couple of people play it, see what it was about, and oh my god, I saw a lot of people memeing it about how Harry Potter. I talk about it sometimes. J.K. Rowling used to just name the characters exactly what they were. Professor Fig works with plants and shit. The one black character in a series was called something Shacklebolt. Everyone just had really bad, it never looked good on her, and people I guess maybe noticed that stuff, but they just never really mentioned it. It was of the time, it was fine. But then when she kind of came out the closet as being a massive putrid woman, basically no one likes, she outed herself for being because I'm all about people get second chances. You're allowed to make mistakes. I don't just wash my hands of people, but it's more that she came out, she said a bunch of I think just transphobic things. I'm not sure if there was other stuff, but the main one I remember is transphobic things. And it's like, okay, that's like fair enough. You could say something and it just gets misconstrued, or then maybe that's what you meant in the moment, but then someone maybe explained it to you and you thought, I've offended people. I'll take it back. And I'm like, yeah, that's cool. That's fine. We're all human beings. But you kind of doubled down. And at that point, even when like the main character of your book series is like calling you a prick, it's not a good look. You know what I mean? And then after that, everyone's like, yeah, now we're going to acknowledge the lack of diversity in your books and how you tried to force diversity by pretending Hermione was black. All I never specified, and all this other stuff, and how you had like no Asian characters, and you had to try and add them in later on and put on more, and being like, there was a Jewish character. He was a third year actually, and he did actually appear on page, I think it was 17 and book 5 when I mentioned a group of 700 students. He was one of the 700 students. So think again. But like, I'm sure she has nothing to do with the game or anything, but you can see the inclusion. It has just, it's insane. Like they got to pull so hard the other way now. Like you go into the game, and within the first 5 minutes, it's like you meet players of, and also it's hard to say because Hogwarts is set in Scotland. I know kids come from all over the country to get to Hogwarts, but like I get it if most students are white or whatever. And also it's like set very far in the past, and you go through Hogwarts. They've got like Asian teachers and like African teachers and African kids, and everyone's just nice to each other. You got disabled kids, you got blind kids. Just like, racism was pretty rife about 100 years ago. So I can only imagine at like the beginning of time or whenever this this game is set. It's just like, oh, in the Wisdom world, I guess not. Think there's I guess, is there? Anyway, I'm more just wanting to make fun of J.K. Rowling. We haven't got to talk about this too long. But yeah, the game, very pushing the equality. It's in there. They're making sure they tick all the boxes. But yeah, don't know if the game's actually good though, which is what probably most people want to know. I've not played it, so couldn't say. Another thing I saw, which I'm sure a lot of people have seen, saw it on Twitter. It was like, big news, read all about it. A monk, and I might be generalizing. I don't know if he was a monk. He could have been someone else, monk related, monk adjacent. He was a guy who, like, one of those people who live out in the sticks, out in the mountains, or out in the, they're out there praising God, or maybe just sort of, I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know much about monks really. I think it's the most I know about monks, which I don't even know, it comes from basically Avatar: The Last Airbender, where he like runs through the temples after he's like looking for all his buddies and they all died years ago and stuff, and they were just out. I didn't really know anything about monks. Anyway, I know they commit themselves to God and stuff, and chastity and all these other things. And apparently there was a monk who recently died, age 70, and he never saw a woman in his life. Never caught a glimpse of a woman. Now that's an interesting thought. Let's delve into that. Never seen one. Did he know what one looked like? I think it's more fun to imagine he didn't. Another question. Straight monk? They never said. A lot of people are assuming, mate, imagine the Rodon. Yeah, I don't really want people to hear me say that out loud, so again I'm going to whisper. Imagine the Rodon he would have if he saw one for the first time. Assuming he's straight. Imagine he was gay and he saw a woman. Would he just think, oh, that's an ugly man? Because obviously, if you've never seen a woman, like, imagine you're a man or you're a woman and you had never seen the other gender before. Like, if you saw a man/woman, if depending on which one you are, for the first time, you wouldn't assume, oh, that's just like a similar species to what I am, but slightly different. You just be like, oh, well, it's clearly a human, so that must just be an ugly woman, like a very ugly, chiseled looking weird woman. That's what you'd be thinking, and he'd just be thinking, oh, that's very slight man, I suppose. I don't know what would cross your mind. And also here's another thing: if you've never seen a woman in your life, how would you know? You know what I mean? Like, when he was 35, he could have seen like a woman walk across the street or like walk through the room, and he just didn't think much of it. He just thought, oh, that's just a geezer with long hair. He didn't think much of it. You know what I mean? I don't know if monks cut their hair or anything, but you just be like, oh, that's just a sort of, oh, that's a weird looking geezer. Why am I aroused? Yeah. Anyway, that's not really much more to it. Not much more than it. You know, it is what it says on the tin. He died never seeing a woman. Did someone say virgin? Yeah, anyway, today's a dry day. We're talking about womenless womenless monks. What was the first? Oh, Hogwarts, racist Harry Potter characters. What are we talking about? And now, icks. Oh, icks. It's a thing you get. A small little detail which maybe just turns you off something. And I'm not talking about it in the classic sense. I'm going to talk about it in something I love. Podcasts. Oh, is that a shock? Did you not guess that? The guy who does one of these every day likes podcasts. Yeah, I do indeed. And sometimes I look for new ones. Sometimes you're on Spotify. That is my brand of choice. And you want something new. Typically, I want something in the genre of football, maybe. I don't think there's a single football podcast I currently listen to because they're just not that good. They're not very. I need the podcast to kind of be funny as well. A lot of them just talk very matter of fact, serious, statty, and it's just not a good chat. But there are some good ones. Most of the football content I watch is more show related or watch along stuff on YouTube and that. But anyway, I'm boring you. It's usually a lot of them are film related or just sort of comedy ones where they're just sort of, what's the word? Shoot in the tin, shoot in the barrel, turn in the wheel, spit in the, shoot in the shit. Yeah, just shoot in the shit. Is that a phrase? Shooting the shit, like shooting a gun that shoots out feces, or shooting the shit as in getting out, or a rifle and shooting a pile of feces. What does your mind go to? Anyway, yeah, so occasionally I'm looking for new ones, and if I turn on one on, I'll listen to it. I will never listen to a whole one and then make up my mind. It's going to be within the first 5-10 minutes. There's a couple key factors within the first 5-10 minutes, aka X. That will mean probably not going to be the one. I got a small list. I'll try and add something if I can. We're going to go for a simple one, which is sounding like AI. I don't like that. If I click on and it sounds like Mark Zuckerberg coded it, I don't want to hear it. Some of them are very factual. It's very scripted. Within seconds, it'll be sort of like this. Hello, and you're listening to. Okay, but already I failed sounding like AI. I shuffled the name beforehand. Okay, so it's a film podcast about films. They could call it movies. Okay, let me try again. Hello, welcome back to Movies, the film podcast where we talk about cow-related films. Join me and my co-host Alex as we talk about cow-related films. In this film, we'll be talking about Barnyard. Barnyard was a film released in 1990. Well, no, it's not that old. It's like 2006 probably. Anyway, but it would just be like that for the whole thing. It's like, I can't, mate. I can't do that. No. So that's the first one. Don't like it. Like, just speak a little bit, You're allowed to talk over each other. Like they do it like it's so professional, like it's a sort of uni GCSE presentation type thing. Like, I'm going to speak for 30 minutes, and at the end I'm going to ask a question. Thanks for asking me, Jack. To answer that question, and then it's just like, so like, God, just speak, be normal. Next up, English accent. I know. Guilty. I'm indeed of the UK. But no, I feel like I've got nothing against the accent of where I am speaking, but I just feel like a lot of English podcasts I listen to, just they don't do it for me. I don't know why. It's either too posh snobbery or it's too like forcing like the not poshness. Like it's too forcing like the grimy, gritty. Like they're just forcing like the we talk about any and anything. We have no filter. Imagine two lads just talking at a pub, but it's a podcast type thing. So usually the English accent, I'm like, oh no. Like if I'm looking for an accent, like safe bet is usually American. I'm like, okay, there could be some funniness there, some good talky. If they're Canadian, not that I'll notice that straight away, but big fan. Australian, don't currently listen to an Australian. Actually, I think I might listen to one, but I don't think I'll currently listen to an Australian podcast. But I do enjoy that. Jewish. I know that's not really like a place, but a lot of the funny podcasts I listen to, after a while they will reveal they are indeed Jewish, and I'm like, I sense a theme here. So shout out my Jews. I don't think I should. That doesn't sound right. I always feel like Jews sounds. I've never had. No one's ever told me this or confirmed this to me. I don't know if this actually is true. Jews just sounds like an offensive word. I don't know if it is, but I guess it's not. I hear people saying it all the time, but it just sounds like one. You know what I mean? So, yep. There's no more to that than that. So we got English accents. We got AI sounding. Film snobbery. I kind of brushed over that. I was this. I hate this. Like, if on a film, you're talking about a film, like, I hate just people. I just hate the whole. You know, I'm gonna call this podcast out. Like, I actually can't remember what it's called. But they were talking, they were going back and forth, and I was enjoying it enough. I wasn't fully sold, but they were talking and they were talking. I was like talking about The Last of Us 2, the game, saying I really loved The Last of Us 2. They were English as well, by the way, which is already a bit of a turn off. I really liked the Last of Us 2. I thought it was really, really well. Like, I never played The Last of Us 1, but I thought The Last of Us 2 was really good, like subverting expectation. I thought it was really clever, and I watched actually a lot of videos of the game makers talking about their decisions and why they chose to do what they did. And I think it was really clever and really, really brave. And from everyone who I've spoken to who didn't like The Last of Us 2, when I asked them to explain why they didn't like it, I knew immediately, you didn't get it. And then I turned off. I can't stand that. You didn't get it. It makes me want to fucking rip my brain out of my ears and digest it as if it was just any fuel for my body. You didn't get it. Well done. You liked it. Fine. You watched an interview of the director of the game explaining why he did what he did, and that justified some things for you. Fine. I've said this so many times. I don't give a fuck, lad. I don't care what the director said. I don't care what his reasoning was for certain decisions. I can know the intent and still not think it was correct. For example, I watch a film and one of the characters kills the other characters, one of the main characters. I go, oh, didn't like that, didn't feel right, didn't feel like the character would do that, didn't like it. That's my opinion. I'm moving on with my life. And then watch the director, he says, no, the reason we did that because it's actually meant to like portray like Adam and Eve and like betrayal. So like we actually thought it was really profound. So yeah, that's actually why we did it. Okay, now I know why you did it. And I still don't like it. Like maybe now I know why you did it, I do like it, and that can also happen. But in this case, no. I now know why. I now respect you had a reason at least, but I still do not like it. This whole like you didn't get it thing because you didn't like it. It's just like you said the thing. You said the thing, mate. You said the thing. What else we got? Here's a couple dumb ones. More than 3 people. More than 3 people, not a fan. I when I say more than 3, I basically mean 2 at a max. And if they got a third, he's more of like the guy in the back who occasionally chimes in. You know how some podcasts have like a producer guy who's like on the call. If they're on a call, he just sits in the back and he kind of researches stuff. And occasionally jumps in if they need a bit of extra info. Sometimes they jump in with some funny bits of ad-libbery. But I just feel like 3 is too much. Podcasts are like a relationship. And I'm like the cock watching them fuck. And this sounds weird. I don't like this in my personal life, just to be clear. But I'm the cuck watching the two fuck, and they're going at it. They're doing great, and if they've got good chemistry, it's usually great to listen to and watch if they have visuals, and it's great when there's three's a crowd. It's too much. I don't know where to look. There's too much going on. People, there's too much. It's too loud. I can't tell voices apart sometimes. It's just too much. Two perfect back and forth. And sometimes maybe a third voice chiming in as well. He's like, oh, I'm here too. I'm like, okay, that's fine. That's also good. But ultimately, this is meant to be like, it's just between me and them, it feels like nice and it's cozy. It's cozy. I like that. It's intimate. And it's just funnier. It's not people trying to fight over each other too much. Like I said, I like people to talk over each other and stuff. In a two-person conversation, that's fine. When it's like 5 people on one podcast, it's just ridiculous, man. It's like listening to like a town hall crowd fucking meeting. Like, just everyone like, hear thee, everyone shouting over each other. It's like, geez, it's assault on the ears. Next one. Husband and wife combo. Now, if it is going to be a 2, which that's like the dream. 2 people, great chem, just chatting about whatever the topic is. I don't really want them to be husband and wife. They can be female. They can be male. They can be male-female. They can be female-males. They're sitting on the other side. They can be whatever they want. I don't want a husband and wife. Could they be husband and husband? Could they be wife and wife, you ask? Never listen to a podcast with two wives or girlfriends as with 2 husbands or boyfriends. But I have listened to podcasts with husbands and wives, and for that I can say I've never liked it. Sometimes, well, I do like it, really. It's like I'll be enjoying it enough, but there's just certain things about when they're in a relationship I just find annoying. Like, I like people to feel like they can disagree with each other, and maybe it's just the ones I've listened to so far, but oh my god, they're just so... The ones I've listened to, it's like the wife is like super... I sound bad for saying this, but like super woke, right? And that makes me sound bad, like I'm some Donald Trumpian or something, like I've got a bunch of bad takes, which is not true. But I just, when I say woke, I just mean like forcing it into like places where it just doesn't need to be, or like you're just talking about things you don't really know, because like it's usually like 2 white people and they're just like, it feels a bit forced, and they're just like talking about things. It's like, okay, that's not actually really a deep thing. Just move on. It's like you're just trying to make yourself look good all the time, and then the husband would like chime in and try and give his thoughts, and then like I remember I listening to one. He was a fan of Jim Carrey. And she was kind of like, no, we don't like Jim Carrey. We don't like Jim Carrey. And he's like, oh, what? But I actually quite like him. He's like, from my childhood, he was my favorite actor growing up. No, when we're not talking about this on the podcast, I don't want to have it out with you. We're not talking about this here. We don't like Jim Carrey. And I'm just like, ugh, I'm like in the middle of a domestic. Well, like I didn't ask for this. You know what I mean? It gets a bit full on. Don't like it. And like I kind of like podcast hosts. They're kind of coming together, and outside of talking about whatever the topic is, they're also kind of catching up with each other. When it's like husband and wife, it's like these people sleep in the same bed. They do the deed probably. I don't know, but they maybe got a kid with each other. Sometimes they have the same job, but they live with each other. It's just like too close. It's like, ugh, you guys are basically the same person at this point. So yeah, those are a few podcast icks. Let me know if you've got any similar ones. Maybe I've got all of yours. British, on his own, chatting shit, tired looking, if you can see me. Maybe you hate people of colour, which, sorry, man. You know, if you do, sorry. Sorry if you do, and I just gave away that I'm not white, because I actually do have got a quite sort of. Do I sound white? I've got quite like a. I don't sound like I'm from where I'm from. I don't think. I got a weird monotone voice. Anyway, yeah. If you thought I was white, I'm sorry to let you down, man. I'm unfortunately not, which is really gonna piss you off. Don't dislike. Wouldn't appreciate that. Really, I don't need that. I don't need that on my. Okay, I'm at the point now Well, probably about the last 20 things I've said in the last 5 minutes. I just really wish I didn't say, and that happens a lot once I get to the end of these because I just start saying stuff and you can't. Once you've said it, it's been said, and it's like I wish I didn't bring this up. I wish I didn't make that joke. I wish I didn't even say that. We've gone too far. 25-14 is what we're up to, and I think this is, what did we say, 49, which means on 250.
Here with the kids. And I've got 3 kids, and the geezer was probably on like maximum 20 bags a year. Like the most boring bloke you'll ever meet. Like,